Medo-Persian, we got Alexander the Great, who conquered swiftly. His kingdom was broken down into four generals, which happened in history. Everybody knows that. We studied history. It happened, but it was Bible prophecy. And then after the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire came. That fell, but God showed us that through this massive figure and symbolisms of the Old Testament, that this would be the revived or remodernization of the Roman Empire, which is standing today. So, these things are not coincidences. You don't see earthquakes. You don't see these massive floods. You don't see these massive tornadoes, for example. Let's look at the tornadoes. In Luke 21:25, it says, "The nations will be perplexed by the roaring seas and the strange tides." Do you know that this year alone we've demolished the record of tornadoes? Over 17, I think it was 1,751 so far, and the year's not even over yet. That's about 450 tornadoes more than any. I went back to the 70s and I couldn't find that many. So when you're looking at all the signs, let's take all the signs, because your listeners out there are going to have to make a judgment of what I'm saying. But believe me, they're not making a judgment of what I'm saying. They're going to make a judgment of what Jesus is telling them. And what I'm saying is the word that I'm giving to you today, whether you accept it or not, Jesus hears you and he knows your mind and your heart. Matter of fact, the Bible says that he knows every hair on your head that's counted. And he knows how you're going to receive this message on the edge today. And let me just warn you about something. The people who were watching Noah build that ark laughed at him. Noah kept doing his work. And there was a day that came when Noah was told, get into the ark, and God took his hand and he shut the door, the ark door, and the flood came. And I'm telling you, all this proof, everything that you're seeing in the news today is straight out and out word from God to encourage you to understand that he is real and he is going to accomplish every single word that he says. And he's doing it because he loves us. Not because he hates us, he wants to destroy us. The whole reason for all these prophecies was to show you that he was in control. That he was real, that he rose from the dead in 3 days and he's still in control. Not just this planet but of everything. The universe is in his control. And so if you're the kind of person that says, well, I don't believe anything Frank Dimora has to say, you're just hardening your heart the same way Pharaoh did when Moses came in and tried to, say, pay attention, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. And I try to tell people, look, and I don't want to scare anybody, but the fact of the matter is, this is the news. This is where we're going. I can't make this stuff up. And it's one of those things I'm very passionate about, because I'm trying to reach the people and bring them into the fold of Jesus Christ. I'm not just Gentiles. I'm talking about the Jewish people as well, because the Jewish people are a blessed people. They need to take a look at your Old Testament and look at the hundreds of prophecies fulfilled through Jesus Christ. You will see it's beyond the imagination of your mind and calculus of how all those prophecies could have been fulfilled in one man unless Jesus was the Messiah. Take a look at it. It's proof. Do not be blind. As a matter of fact, Gina, there's reports out that there's more Jewish people accepting Christ now than ever. And I believe that what's happening is Christ is calling the last fold. He's bringing in the sheep before he comes for his bride. And it may happen in September. I don't know. All I know is it's an appointed time. And the Lord said to watch and be ready. And I think it's very important, because all the time I pray this. It's a prayer that Jesus told us to pray. Pray always that you be accounted worthy to escape all the things that are coming to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. And so I do that. And I would recommend everybody who's at the edge, whether you believe it or not, at least consider what I'm saying. Check it out, compare it to the news, because your eternity is at stake. And just like my sister-in-law who entered into eternity because she accepted Jesus Christ, and I had the pleasure to lead her into the Lord a couple weeks ago. She's there. But your eternity is now at stake. And if you refuse this, I want to tell you what's going to happen. You refuse this, the Antichrist will be in your face. They're doing things right now in the world to set up systems to track everybody in this world. They're moving very quickly on it. A lot of people say, what about the Verichip? That's in my book. The Verichip is a technology that when Jesus said that in the last days when this guy comes out of the Roman Empire, he rises through three kings. He's going to subdue those three kings. He's going to rise up into the 10 kings. It says that in Revelation about the 10 kings. It says in Daniel's gospel, he talks about the Antichrist rising up first and subduing the three kings. Now, the European Union just so happens to have the Western European, which is actually NATO. The nations that are in NATO are the same nations that are in the Roman Empire, or the European Union. NATO, there's 10 of them, and there's only 10 full nations. There is a number of 10, exactly what Jesus Christ said. Now, Berlusconi, this is another offshoot here. Berlusconi is one of the things that I found very interesting about Berlusconi, it's like we're tying a circle here, Gina, is that Berlusconi, when he was in office, he really had problems with nations within the European Union, and there are 3 of those nations. And there's many writings. You go on the web and you just look up, do a Google search about the Gang of 3 in the European Union, and you'll see that you put in Berlusconi, it says Italy, for one of these, it says the International Herald Tribune, Italy's anger at these 3 meeting in Berlin. What had happened is Berlusconi, these 3 nations, which were France, Great Britain, and Germany, which they're still dominant, they've been trying to get power, be the leading power authority within the European Union. Berlusconi, when he was president, he had a lot of problems with this, and they were writing about it. And at one point, even says Berlusconi attacks the Gang of 3. This came out in the BNet Business Weekly in February 18, 2004. It says Berlusconi launches attack on the Gang of 3 alliance. Well, I look at this and say, look, is this one of those coincidences where the Lord told us in the book of Daniel that the man from Rome will rise out of 3 nations to defeat them or to subdue them, and then the rest of the 10 will give their power and authority over to them? Well, I mean, when you take a look at what's going on in the European Union, they got the 10, they're already fighting against the 3, and you put together everything else that Berlusconi's doing, it's almost like God is saying, wake up, wake up, wake up. And all we can do now is just keep watching. I'm doing my job as a watchman for the Lord. And what I'm doing is I'm relaying everything that's going on. I'm standing at the tower shouting to the people, listen to God, listen to God. He's coming, He's coming. All I can do is shout. I can't force anybody to come in. I plead. Gina, every morning I get up, I pray for souls. I pray that when I write, people will understand. I'm writing from my heart. I'm not angry at anybody. I don't want to throw stones at anybody. I just want them to feel the love of the Lord. I want them to understand that God is a merciful God, and He's doing everything that He can to get His word out to the people so that they would accept Him.
Well, I think you do a great job. You've got a great website, and everything that you're saying is very accurate because, of course, I was raised Christian and I know a lot. I'm very grateful to have met you. And I know I've received emails and people really, really liked your last interview. So you are reaching a lot of people, and you do a great job. There's no doubt. We're running out of time. So why don't you add whatever you think is important, and then we'll close.
All right. I would just want to tell your audience, thank you for allowing my passion to come out.